everyone, Anastasia Jirwa here. Today we are going to deal with another topic of fundamental of nursing. As we have discussed in the previous session about illness and illness behavior, in this session we are going to learn about another topic which is related to illness. And this is a very common one which we would have witnessed or we would have observed it in our own family. The topic which we are going to discuss today is the impact of illness on the patient and on the family. So, what is illness? By now, you would have been familiar with what illness is. Illness is defined as a personal experience of being sick or unwell. So, as I've repeatedly been saying, that illness is nothing but a experience which is felt personally about you yourself being sick or unwell. So now when a person is sick, there are various changes that can occur to the patient as well as the family members. So here we are going to look about what is the impact of this illness on the patient. The first one is the behavioral and emotional change. This is very common as we've seen that when one is ill or when one becomes sick, his emotions as well as his behavior changes. When a person is unwell, he or she gets irritated very easily. He or she becomes angry even for such a silly reason. He or she will withdraw himself from his daily activities. He or she will be in the denial state whereby they will not be accepting any responsibilities or any roles which is given to them. And he or she will always be in the state of hopelessness, lack of energy and stamina. I'm sure we ourselves must have experienced this many times, whereby when we become sick, there are various behavioral and emotional changes which will take place. The second one is the loss of autonomy. Autonomy is nothing but the ability of a person to perform any activities which is of his interest. So here, when the person is sick, he or she will not have any interest in performing the activities which he enjoys because his body will not be giving him the energy or the stamina to do so. The third one is the self-concept and body image changes. So here, self-concept is nothing but the way we perceive our own abilities or our behavior. So, when one becomes sick, the self concept which we have or which we perceive changes, as well as the body image changes. For example, if a person has been suffering from diabetes mellitus, there are various complications that can also occur. For example, diabetic foot. If the person has been suffering from diabetic foot and no further treatment can be given for this, the last option is the amputation of leg. So, this leg amputation can lead to various body image changes. They can also lead to severe scar. This body image changes can also lead the person to suffer from low self-esteem. Therefore, it is very important that we support them in this state. The fourth one is the lifestyle changes. It is for sure that when one is suffering from any kind of illness, he or she will be going through many lifestyle changes such as change in the diet, change in the exercise pattern, as well as disturbed rest and sleep. So, once a person is sick, it is very obvious that there will be various changes which will take place in the lifestyle which he follows. It also depends on the family member who is ill. For example, here, in case if the mother is ill, it becomes very difficult for her. Not only she's suffering from any physical illness, she will be going through many emotional changes as she will not be able as a mother towards her children. This can cause her various emotional changes that can also lead to depression. The next one is the seriousness and length of the illness. If a person is suffering from any serious condition which can last for a very long duration, this can lead to various physical as well as emotional disturbances in which it can impact the client severely. And the last one is the cultural and social customs of the patient as well as of the family members which they tend to follow in their day-to-day life. So these are the various things that can impact the client when he or she is not well. Next, we will move on and look what can this illness impact the family. When one person is ill, it can impact the whole family. There will be various changes that can occur. The first one is the role change. So here, each family member is being assigned different roles. When one in the family member is sick, he or she will not be able to perform the roles. So, any other family members must take up his role in order to function the family properly. The next one is the task reassignment. Each family members are assigned with different roles, responsibilities, as well as tasks which they are expected to perform in their day-to-day life. So when one is sick, we cannot expect this person to perform the task which is being given to him. So the other family members who are well must also take up this task. For example, if there is a family in which the mother is a housewife, all the chores are expected to be done by her. But if she is unwell, this task will be reassigned to the other members of the family or the husband himself because we cannot expect the mother to perform the daily chores as she normally do when she is ill, since she will not be having the necessary energy and stamina to do so. The third one is the increased demand on time. If one is sick, we cannot expect them to take care of their own self. There must be someone who needs to be beside the person in order to take care of them. So, this will increase the demand on time because one needs to substitute his daily activities in order to provide time for the patient in order to take care of them. The fourth one is the anxiety about the patient or the one who is suffering from illness. For example, if the child is suffering from any kind of disease, it is very common that the mother or the father will be having an anxiety. Why? Because they would be scared that their child is suffering from diseases and will want them to be healthy again. The fifth one here is the conflict about unaccustomed responsibilities. This is nothing but an argument or a conflict which will occur in between the family members because of this task reassignment or the role changes which will occur when one is sick. The next is the financial problem. This is very common, especially if one is suffering from a life-threatening disease which lasts for a long duration. When one is suffering from any diseases, he or she will be expected to receive the required treatment in order to cure from the disease. This treatment, which needs to be provided to them, can cost a huge amount of money. The next is the loneliness. This loneliness occurs as a result of separation and pending loss. For example, if the mother is ill, the child will be suffering from loneliness because they are being separated from their mother. Or, for example, if the family had lost the father, who is the breadwinner of the house, they will be suffering from loneliness because of the pending loss. And the last one is the change in the social custom. So these are the various changes that can occur in the family and can impact them to a high extent. So till here we have separately discussed about the impact of illness on the patient as well as the impact of illness on the family. Next, we are going to discuss about the impacts of illness both on the patient and the family member as a whole. As we all know that an illness of a family member can affect the function of the whole family. So this can lead to many behavioral and emotional changes. It can also impact the body image, self-concept, and also it can impact the family roles and the family dynamics. So let's look at each one of it in detail. So what are the behavioral and the emotional changes? Here, the individual's behavioral and emotional reaction depends on the nature of illness, the attitude of the patient towards this illness, the reaction of others to it, and also the variable outcomes of this illness behavior. We might have seen that if a person has been suffering from illness which is only for a short duration and which is a non-life threatening disease, he or she will be going through certain behavioral as well as emotional changes, but these changes will only last for a short duration of time. Whereas if a person is suffering from a life-threatening diseases, or if a person is suffering from diseases which usually last for a long period of time, this can lead the person to suffer from various emotional and behavioral changes which can also last for a long period of time. So here, for example, a husband or a father who has cold will lack the energy and the patience to spend time for the family as well as for the family activities and will become very irritable and prefer not to interact with others. We can see that these behavioral changes will be there, but it will only last for a short duration of time. Why? Because he is suffering from an illness which is only for a short duration of time and which is non-life threatening. So this disease is a non-life threatening and it will also occur only for a short period of time. So even here, the behavioral and the emotional changes will only occur for a short period of time. Whereas if a person is suffering from any life-threatening illness such as cancer, it can lead to more extensive emotional or behavioral changes such as depression, anxiety, anger, withdrawal, denial, as well as shock. So, here we can understand that the behavioral and the emotional changes of a person depends upon the kind of condition they are suffering from. The next one is the impact on the body image. Here, the body image is the subjective concept of the physical appearance. Some illnesses can result in the change of the physical appearance. So, the reaction of these changes depend upon the type of change that has occurred and the adaptive capacity of the person, which means how well the person can adapt to these changes, as well as the rate of change that has taken place and the support services which is available in order to cope up with these changes. So here what happens is that initially these changes can shock the patient, and the family members can also become anxious when they recognize the reality. But as soon as the patient and the family members accept the loss and acknowledge the changes, they would be able to adapt themselves to the changes that has occurred and move on with their life as they normally do. So, when illness occurs, there can be various changes in the body image, but it depends on the person as well as his support system, which is the family members, how they accept the loss and how they acknowledge the change in order to lead a normal life. Now, the next one is the impact on the self concept. As I've said, self concept is the way we perceive ourselves, our abilities, our behaviors. So, here, self concept is our mental self image of all the aspects of our personality and how we view our strength and weaknesses in our day to day life. As patient whose self concept changes because of illness is sometimes no longer able to meet the family expectations, which can lead the person to suffer from tension as well as anxiety. And if the family members are not able to accept the loss or to acknowledge the changes, this can also lead to various changes in their interaction with the patient in a good way. Here, the impact of illness on self concept is not easily observed. But here, as the concept gets affected, the person will no longer be able to meet the expectation of the family, which can lead to conflict, frustration, as well as anxiety. So, while providing care, we as nurses must be able to observe the changes in the family as well as the patient's concept in order to help them adapt to the changes and to help them adjust with the current situation. So, illness not only impact the client and the family members, but it also impact the family roles and the family dynamics. Here, during illness, the role of the client and the family members are generally disturbed. It can be either for a short duration or for a long duration. So, we can see that if a person is only suffering from an acute illness or from an illness which occurs only for a short duration of time, he or she will be able to adjust with the changes. For example, if a mother with two children is suffering from cold, she will still continue to go to work and perform her own roles and responsibilities. But if a person is suffering from a life-threatening diseases or from diseases which usually last for a long duration of time, it requires an adjustment process. Here, the client and his family members will have as well as the guidance in order to assist them to cope with the various role changes that can occur in the family. Family dynamics is nothing but the process by which a family function, makes decision, gives support to an individual member as well as they as a family cope with various changes and challenges that can occur in their day to day life. Here, as we all know, that people may have many roles in their life. For example, some may be the wage earner, some may be the decision maker. So, when these people become ill, it can lead to various role changes. These changes can either be only for a short duration or can be for a long duration. So here, when anyone of the family member becomes ill, the family dynamics often changes. Another family member sometimes need to assume the patient roles and responsibilities. So this can lead to tensions, anxiety, frustration to the other family members, which can later end up in conflicts. So here we can see that illness can really impact the client, and not only the client but also the family member as a whole, because it leads to changes in the family dynamics. So the nursing intervention must be devoted towards the client as well as the family members in order to help them adapt to these changes. So here we have come towards the end of this topic, whereby in today's session we have discussed about the impact of illness on the client, the impact of illness on the family members, whereas the certain changes that will impact the family members and the client together as a whole. We have also discussed about the impact on the family roles and the family dynamics which can occur when one is suffering from illness. So I hope you guys have understood that illness not only affect the individual but it also affect the support system of the person, that is the family members. So here we must make sure that if one is suffering from any kind of illness, we, as the support system of the person, must be able to encourage, as well as we ourselves must be able to adapt to the changes as well as accept the changes in order to lead a healthy and a happy life. So, I will be meeting you guys in another session whereby I'll be dealing with another interesting topic. Till then, thank you. Bye.